Hi, my name is Davy Crockett. That's my real name. It's not a joke. Today here in Wild Kingdom we're going to look at the miniature kangaroos. The miniature kangaroos get this small size because when they were younger they smoked cigarettes quite a bit. As you can see, they are not very much movers because their lungs are so bad and they have trouble breathing. It's a very large, graceful animal. Now to the average eye you may think these are elephants, but to a trained eye like myself you find that it's not so. These are actually buffalo dressed up as elephants. Take a look at them now. Here, as you can see, the buffalo are practicing the art and the science of not being seen. Elephants, please show yourself. As you can see, the elephants are doing an excellent job. I mean the buffalo, that is. You may ask yourself, why would a buffalo dress itself up like one of these giant beasts? Well, the answer is very simple, you see. Much like the buffalo of America, the Australian buffalo was hunted a great deal, and to escape these mass murders, they started dressing up as elephants. Matter of fact, they don't only dress up as elephants. As you can see over there, they're also very adept at dressing up like flamingos. You see, the Australian buffalo has this incredible ability to shrink itself down to even the smallest size. I've seen these Australian buffaloes the size of mice at times, and as big as giraffes at other times. They're an incredible beast, this Australian buffalo. Besides being trained and an expert at animal tease here in Australia, I'm also a perfect tracker, as you can see. These tracks here were left not by a train, as most people think, but there's a very special animal here in Australia that leaves tracks such as these. This is called the Aborigine Track Slayer. The Aborigine Track Slayer, what it does is disguise itself as a train and leaves tracks. The thing is, it leaves these tracks so its mate can find it very easily. Without these tracks, the mate would be without a clue and the race would die out. As much as I don't like to do it, I do have to do a promotional for the Qantas Jets. They've asked me to do this to up our tourist chains. As you can see, this is the brand new super duper 44 jet plane in the new Qantas fleet. It'll get you to Australia and back from the US in less than 4 hours. Welcome to this new form of transportation here in Australia. It's not a very efficient form of transportation because it goes around in circles and it's a very bumpy ride. But it's good for the people who aren't too smart who think they're going someplace. And that's why they've installed this, to keep those people out of the mainstream of society and here on this form of transportation. Shall we go on the ride? Let's. As you can see, the ride is very bumpy. As it spins around, the people just go round and round, giving them a sense like they're moving in a direction which they wouldn't normally move. They tell the people, hence they're going to New York, where in fact when they get off this ride, they'll be in the same place as when they started. As you can see, it is now 24 hours later, and we are still going round and round. 8 hours later, and we're still going round and round, and we have not gone anywhere. But for those of us around us, they think they've traveled halfway around the world. It's hard to explain the psychological phenomena of why people think they're actually going somewhere when they're not. Perhaps later we'll get a chance to talk to one of Australia's famous psychologists. It's now been 6 days, and finally our journey is complete. We have not gone anywhere, but here we are back where we started. And when we get off this ride, we will talk to renowned psychologist Ingemar Svensson, the famed psychologist Ingemar Svensson. We have looked everywhere for him, and we're looking in this crowd to see if he might be here in the Australian bush, at the picnic areas. We've had no luck so far. But my rumour has it, from a good source, says that a lot of times you can find this famed psychologist Ingemar Svensson in the men's rooms, waiting for boys. Let's see if we can find a men's room. There's one there. Let's see if we can find this gentleman. This gentleman of great scholar. He knows so much about the modern man. It's just amazing. If he's in here. Oh, there he is. I think that's him right there. Mr. Ingemar Svensson. Mr. Ingemar.
Yes.
Oh, hi. I'm glad we found you. We had a question. There's this matter of the crazy camel, this transportation system here in Australia. It goes around in circles and the people actually think they're going somewhere. Can you explain this phenomenon?
Well, David, the illusion of motion created by the unique undulating pendulum of the ride gives the illusion of motion. It's sort of hypnotizing in a way, and the subliminal suggestions of you are going places, you are enjoying the ride, everyone is happy when you get there, is primarily why people enjoy it so much.
Oh, well, we thank you for the explanation.
Thank you.
The famous Australian Stanley Falls, a natural phenomenon which the curator of this place, Bob Bogan, will tell us more about.
These are the historic...
Excuse me, you kind of look like Ingemar Svensson, the psychologist.
Don't worry about that. Everyone says that. It's not true. We went to school together, but that's all. We're not lovers. We're not. No more of that. But you can see behind me the historic Stanleyville Falls. We don't know how it got there. As you can see, the pygmies are doing their tribal rain dance down the falls. We've got one coming up in just a moment. Pygmies defy gravity and danger and risk their lives in the fertility rite to promote rain. As you can see, sparing no expense, these very expensive falls, we believe were brought here by space aliens to promote interplanetary relations with the pygmies. They're thousands of years old, we just don't know anything about them, nothing more.
Well, excuse me, can you answer one question for me?
Certainly.
What kind of technology would it take to build such a fall? I mean, it seems so gigantic that only a god or something like that could make something as natural as these falls.
Well, Dave, as I said before, it's our fervent belief that saucer men landed thousands of years ago and gave this technology to the pygmies.
Are you expecting me to believe and little green men came down here and put this up here?
Of course not, David. That would be stupid. They're yellow.
It's the Australian test of man. It's the equivalent of 12 years of school for an American. You see, this ride takes just a minute and a half. But once you go through this, you'll have all the wisdom of a man 3, 4, 5 times your age. Thing how the Australian puts up with all this pain and torture, but they seem to enjoy it somehow. Sir, if you may, I might like to ask you a question. How do you think this ride will change the way you feel as a man? Well, but the rides of this, the Australian rides are making you feel like a man, aren't you? Don't you think this ride will do something for you? The Australians have this strange plan that somewhere by the year 2000 that this will qualify every Australian to be sent into space. It judges whether or not a youth is old enough, or tall enough, I should say, to ride the manhood ride. See, they judge people by their height, not their age. Here comes one of the little buggers now. Although this happens to be a woman, women are allowed, if they choose, to ride the man height. As you can see, she's not tall enough. Perhaps in a couple of years, she'll be tall enough. 38 inches is the regulated height for riding this ride. Passage. Only moments away before we have a ride on this Australian men's ride. But before this, I'd like to say that you are going to be the first non-Australians to see such an event. Well, this is a very sacred ritual of the Australians. As a matter of fact, they told us we cannot bring our cameras on, but we're smuggling them aboard just to show you on the outside world what it is like. You're finally here. You're ready to experience this Australian ritual. And here we go. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. This is the experience where a man has time to contemplate what he's about to go through. You have time as you go up the hill.
All right, fucked up.
This is to symbolize that we can see the whole world, that we're on top of the world as men. As you can see everything. And as we come around the turn here, this is the frightening part here. As we go around this curve, you see, we are put upside down. We must go this way to symbolize how topsy-turvy world this is. That we are not just survivors in this world, but some things don't go as they are planned. We are following through the ritual. We now could be considered Australian men. In Sydney, Australia, at one of Australia's famous ports, where millions of dollars of exports and imports go through every day. If you look to my left, you will see the wonderful network of shipping and docks that these great Australian minds have put together. As you can see, there's one docking now. The alarm is to alert that anyone coming by should be cautious, for there's a ship coming through. This is a tiger. This is popcorn. And this is Stanleyville. This is the famed Stanleyville Theatre, where many stars come to be discovered. Why Frank Sinatra was discovered at this theatre. Not only he was, but Jerry Lewis and his partner Dean Martin were discovered in this very, very theatre. At this time of year, it's very dangerous because this is the time the seagulls start migrating to this part of Australia. The seagulls become very wildly aggressive at the sight of people. As a matter of fact, there were 4 deaths last year from seagull attacks. These seagulls, one bite could kill a man within a span of 15 minutes. First you start gasping for air, then you start having fits, much like an epileptic without his medication. It's a very nasty sight to see. As you can see, these are the people, the starving actors of Australia. Their jobs in their part-time are cleaning up the stadium when it is closed. Frank Sinatra started out this way himself, as a boy with a broom and a pan to put it in. It is a well-known custom here in Australia that people come to see the people sweep the floors and hope to get their autographs, for you never know when the next big star will come out of this wonderful theatre. Perhaps if 20 years ago today I was here watching Frank Sinatra clean the floors, I could have had his autograph at that time. Just knowing that is exciting, isn't it? One of the reasons why Stanleyville Theatre is so popular is its location, right here on the edge of the Pacific Ocean, where you can see for miles and miles. There's such a beautiful span of water. One almost can look out at it and wonder, where does all this water come from? Australian ducks. Many people say it looks like a seagull, but it's not. It's actually a duck. The reason we know this is a duck, but listen to its call very quietly. It's a duck. Hey, I'm telling you, you gotta send us more money. Our budget's running out. We're starving down here. You know we had to kill a seagull just to eat it? We don't have any money. You gotta send us more money. Our budget's running out. We don't even know if we have enough money to get home. We can't even get on any of the rides or anything here. I'm telling you, it's just terrible. Everything is terrible. What? What do you mean we're over budget already? You didn't send us enough money to begin with. What do you think? Huh? No. You are. Not me. You are. You are a son of a bitch. That's what you are. Oh, I'm sorry. Come this way and we'll tell you more of the the Australian plane. It might be. It might not be. After a long, hard day in the bush, one gets very thirsty. We're out here to try this unusual berry that the natives pick in this juice. They say it's very good. I've never tried it myself, but I'm going ahead to try it now. God, this is soft. I've never tasted anything so bad in my life. God, it's soft. Oh, it's terrible. This is, if I'm not mistaken, it is it's something made out of wood. I know that for sure. And I believe it was carved by human hands. And I really don't know the story behind this, but it's a very nice piece. And well, I just don't know what to say anymore about it because it's so exquisite. And they told me what to say before I came on here, but it's just a big wooden thing made by Australian people sometime in the past. We are here at this Australian airport. As you see, I brought my luggage along. There's one mysterious thing about this airport. There are no reservations. It's on a wait basis. You get in line, and when you get up to the front and there's a plane available, you can ride it. And we're on this line right now. We should hope to get on a plane within the next 3 hours. These buggies that you are now looking at are the main transportation for the pygmies of Australia. They prefer to push them around and rather than have them go where they might. See, the pygmies are very troublesome, especially if they get into the wood of your houses. They act just like termites, eating away at the very foundation of your house.
And look at that.
Hey, over here. I want to tell you the real truth behind the pygmies. Many of the Australian people consider the pygmy a great delicacy here. They chop them off, split their heads, and eat their brains. People look at America as the technical leader of the world. But here in Australia, they developed their own plane system. As a matter of fact, this plane is the first plane ever to fly without wings. On our trip, we'll be traveling with famous biologist, Professor Adolf Hinter.
We're traveling at about 20,000 feet above the plains of Africa. As you know, Africa was once controlled by the Germans. Hopefully, someday we will be able to get it back. We are hovering now over the Australian city of Morocco, which also was controlled by the Third Reich at one point, I believe, in our history. If you will look down, you will see all of the marvelous signs of civilization. The marvelous German architecture, the amazing German water pools. We actually are flying over the Pacific Ocean with the Pacific dolphins. Yes, and as now we are flying over the marvelous highway systems that we have here in Australia. It is the main highway, and the marvelous economical vehicles that we have here. As you can see, that is Paul Hogan, known to the Americans as Crocodile Dundee, driving in his Messerschmitt. Yes, now we are making our transfer from the Australian plains. We are now going to fly over the African plains. We have landed at the port of Sydney, and now we are taking off, and in no time at all, the amazing Australian wingless aircraft will have us flying over the plains of Africa, as I believe. And I believe that some very interesting things will be happening very soon. Now, we are coming to the lakeside of the largest lake in all of Africa. It is in Nairobi. The Nairobian flamingos are grazing. As you can see, they are grazing in the water, eating the small algae-like animals that live there. The protozoa, the plankton, and gefilte. These are the tree-dwelling deer. They are, at one of their rare moments, they are grazing actually on the ground, but their small antlers, their powerful jaws, and their spring-like legs, they leap from tree to tree, plucking berries and eating them. They are resting now on the ground, an unnatural place for them to be. These are the amazing cigarette mules. I'm sure that you have seen them on your favorite pack of cigarettes. Would you like another cigarette, Mr. Carnavan? This, of course, is what we call an ostrich. They are a large, flightless bear, which, for some strange reason, is larger than most of the land animals it encounters in its daily habitat. Much larger than these camels, as you can see. We are coming to a temporary halt in our journey as we are landing at the new modern facilities that we have constructed here in Africa. It is the most modern airport in the African continent. I'm sure you'll be impressed. Maybe we'll get to see some of it as we go down to the lobby.
Power failure, power failure,
Oh, no.
power failure, power failure, power failure, power failure, power failure, power failure.
As part of our safety features, only full crawlers are permitted on the skywalk.
I'd like to take this. I tried some of this grape stuff, but it wasn't all that good. How's the lemon stuff? Is that better?
Oh, it's much, much better.
You're sure now? Because I tried that stuff when I didn't like it.
Yeah, much, much better.
Okay, I'll take one of them, please.
One.
One. I know these are very, very special drinks that you make here in Australia. These are made by pygmies, are they?
I don't know.
You don't know. Someone told me these were made by pygmies.
You're welcome.
As you can see, we purchased this lemon delight here from Australia. I have been promised that it is much better than the grape that we tasted before. So let me go ahead and give it a try real quick here and think what it tastes like. You're now looking at one of Australia's famous attractions, the Australian Ruins, a city built almost 2 centuries ago. This was once a 12-story building. Now look at this, diminished to this, rubble, just rubble. This is the only freestanding building left from that gigantic earthquake that hit Australia 200 years ago, while even the plumbing's not intact any longer. Here we are back in the African plains. Life here is very, very hard.